Hey guys, I'm back again and I'm here to do my March wrap up. I've been away for a minute, haven't been feeling that well, but I am on the mend, so I'm here with this wrap up. So, my reading has been going pretty well so far. And this month of March, I read one, two, three, four, five, six books. No, seven books. So doing very well. So let's just get started with my first book, which is this one right here, Sea of Poppies by Amitav Ghosh. Okay, so this book is the second book that my book club here in Normandy has read by Amitav Ghosh. So the first one was, I think it's called The Glass Palace. And this is the second one, which is called Sea of Poppies, which is a book that explores the boat that's called the Ibis that is crossing the Indian Ocean. This is before the Poppy Wars in China. And the main character of the book is a mulatto American man who's freed alongside a French orphan, a woman, young woman. This book is, I don't know how to describe it, but basically, I'll just tell you like this. This is the first book of a trilogy, first of all. I will not be continuing the trilogy. The book is very long, but not only that, there is an attempt on the author's point to try to write the language as it was probably spoken back in the time of when this story would have taken place. So the language is not easy to understand. It's like a mix of English, Old English, and some Chinese, and some other stuff mixed in that the author tried to invent it the way he thought it probably would have been spoken. Kudos to him for doing that, but not kudos to us to have to read it because it's literally not at all easy to understand. So that put a damper on things for the reading. It kind of slowed things down and it made things very difficult to, let's say, get into. It took a good, I would say a good 50% in before I was really interested in what was going on in this book, sadly. This is one of the main reasons why I won't be reading books 2 and 3. I just wasn't invested enough in this storyline to want to continue because it seems like a storyline. The first book, it seems like it opens a lots of questions and nothing is answered. So you will have to read through two more books like this, and the other two books are just as long. I think, yeah, just as long. There might be one that's going around 350, but I think the other one is like 600 pages again. Yeah, this particular Amitav Ghosh, no, this was not my cup of tea, sadly. Okay, so the next book I read was this one right here. Oh, I gave Sea of Poppies 3 stars. It wasn't all bad, but it didn't grip me enough to want to read 2 and 3. And it was much too long. And that's why I gave it 3 stars. Because I feel like if you're going to read a book that's over 500 pages or 450 pages, it has to be worth your while because you're going to be spending a lot of hours reading that book. And I feel like if it's not a 4 or 5 star, I'm always going to say it's not worth it. That's how I see it. Okay, the next book we read was this one right here, The Secret History of Las Vegas by Chris Abani. Okay, this book we read in my Read So Lit book club over in Patreon. We had quite the discussion on this one. I feel like we were a little bit mixed, had mixed reviews from the ladies on this book. I thoroughly enjoyed it because it was a book that I went into knowing that it was like a thriller mystery, but it's not really a mystery. It's a thriller more or less, but it's a thriller with a literary fiction feel to it. And the thing is, we go into the book and we're not really sure what's going on. And then once we get into the book, it's like, okay. There was some going back and forth between South Africa and Las Vegas, and I thought this was an interesting turn or way of telling this story because some of the main characters are from abroad, from South Africa. And it made me go and research some things after reading how this book was laid out. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I feel like this is a book that I recommend for people that want a thriller that has a different type of feel, that is not a very typical thriller, and wants something with a little bit more something, a little bit more spice. But it reads really well. It's actually a pretty quick read, even though it is coming in at, oh, it comes in as, it was 319 pages, but it really does read well. And Chris Abani is genius with his storytelling. He always tries to show more than just typically telling the story. He's giving us more information on things that are actually really important in the world. I really like this one. I think it's interesting. I'm trying to give you interest in it without giving away too much. And it's hard to do because this is a very, very specific story. Highly recommend it. It was very good. Okay, the next book I read was The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. I'm not going to talk about this book that much. I'm just going to say why are they making people read this book? Why is this considered great American literature? This was like tomfoolery, buffoonery. This gave me serious minstrel vibes. I didn't like anything about this story. I've read it before. I read it, I think it was in high school. And I just don't understand what's so great about this. It's the most demeaning thing I've read in a while. I just was like, nothing in here was funny. The storyline was trash because they were doing things that was absolutely ridiculous and demeaning to Jim. But not only that, just plain old straight up ridiculous storytelling. That's just my opinion. I think I gave this a 1 star. Yeah. Do not recommend it. But why did I read this? I reread this so that I could be prepared when James came out. Took forever for my copy to arrive. My copy has since then arrived. So eventually I will try to do a comparison of this with James. I hope that Percival Everett is going to really switch up some things tremendously in this book to make it a lot more interesting than this freaking book right here. Because this was a no ma'am for me. I was so happy when it was over. I can't even tell you. Okay, next book on my list was Émile Zola's Le Docteur Pascal. So, I have been buddy reading this series with my friend Anna, and this is book 20. Yes, y'all, we finished the 20 books in 2 years and 3 months. Yes. We will miss the Rougon Macquart, but this was the end of a very long series that I highly recommend that people read some books from the series, even if they don't read them all, because they are kind of like standalones, but they also go together. The Dr. Pascal is the last family member that is discussed in a storyline. He is living with his niece, who he has been literally raising since she was maybe about 9 years old, I think, 8 or 9 years old. And Le Docteur Pascal, and in this particular book, has invented this treatment using, I think it's supposed to be using either pig or sheep or something. And he uses this as a way to help people that are sick and people don't know exactly what they've got. But it's some experimental thing. It's a bit creepy and weird. But this book basically gives us the 360 of the Rougon Macquart And it talks about how family heritage can be more than just money and what they can give you. It's also what they give you in genes and what they give you in spirit and things like that. Sadly, this one wasn't like, up there with the best of them. I think it was down there at the bottom of them for one particular reason, but I won't get into that right now. But I'm just happy to say that I have finished reading those 20 books, and I've finished reading them in French, and I am super stoked for that. So I will announce here, since I'm talking about this book 20, Anna and I will be on here on the 18th, Saturday the 18th of May, and we will be doing a live discussion of the entire Wugal Macau series, book 1 to book 20. We're going to discuss, we're going to give our personal ratings. We're going to give like our highs and lows of each book. It's going to be fun, and we hope you all will come and join us for this live, because we just going to lay it all out there for y'all. The next book that I read was this one right here, which is L'Odyssée d'Akem, which is book 3. Now, you know that my husband has picked 12 books for me off of a particular bookshelf, and he's picked 12 books. So I pick out one book a month to read, and they're all wrapped in newspaper and brown paper, so I don't know what they are. For the month of March, I picked L'Odyssée d'Akem, which is the 3rd book in the series. It's a trilogy, and this is about a young man who is trying to leave Syria, and he's trying to get to the UK. So this is actually for me a reread. I think I talked about this series when I bought this book and read it years ago, but it was good rereading it. I forgot how much I loved it. It's very harrowing. It's a true story. It's based on this man's true story. So basically, this guy, Fabien Toulmé, he interviewed the guy, and he has turned his immigration story into this trilogy graphic novel. So this is what it looks like. I love the drawings, the storytelling. It's done extremely well. I highly recommend it. If you haven't read this one, I highly recommend you read it. That's the back. You can see kind of like the journey. So if you can see here, it's from Macedonia to France. So you have here the trip in orange. And you have the first part of the trip is there, and then the second part like that. So I highly recommend this one. Such a good book. Very harrowing. Oh my gosh. You're just going to be clutching your pearls and thinking, oh, Jesus, your heart is going to ache. But it's just a very, very good story. I highly recommend it. All right. Last but not least, I have these 2 graphic novels. So I have the first one, which is Madeleine Résistante. So resistant. And this one is Madeleine Résistante, Édredon Rouge. So basically what I did was, this second one had just come out and I hadn't gotten a chance to read it. So what I did was I reread this first one, because I had reread this one. I read this one a couple of years ago when I picked it up. And then I bought the second one. So in order to remember a little bit, I went back and I reread this one. And I got to this one. And let me tell you, baby, these are excellent. Now, I don't know if these have just yet been translated into English, but when they do, if you do see this one, I highly recommend that you pick it up. What a fantastic life story. Madeleine is a young woman who grows up and becomes a part of the resistance during World War II. Whoo, child. This book has you on edge as well. But the thing about it is Madeleine is still alive. And what they've done is they have interviewed her, and she basically recounts her story, and they take the notes and everything and they turn it into a graphic novel. And so there's going to be another one, a third one coming out. Just so you can see in the back, you can see that that's Madeleine right there telling her story. So this is at the back of the book. Because in the beginning, Madeleine, when she was approached about having her life turned into a graphic novel, she thought it was ridiculous. She said, "Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. It's, it's comic strips, it's ridiculous." And after talking to them and them showing her what it could be, she changed her mind and decided to tell her story. And so that's how these graphic novels have become what they are. So I'm looking forward to reading book 3. I can't wait till it comes out. Book 2, ooh, child. Book 2 just had me clutching my pearls a little bit. I was a little scared. But you can kind of tell. Madeleine is quite the woman with quite the character. This is book 1 right here. And the story starts from when she's young and it goes up to like when she's, I guess, in her early 20s or like maybe 19-ish kind of age like that. But I highly recommend them. These are both 5-star reads if you can get your hands on them in English. If you're a French speaker, I highly recommend them. They're just really, really good. So that is all the books that I read in the month of March. I feel like my month of March was respectable with my 7 books. But let me know what you think of what I read or if you're interested in reading any of these. And I'll see you again with a new video very, very soon. Bye-bye.